Does a high-level IAEA visit to Iran come with a kind of all-access included pass or not?
Most unfortunately, no. Usually these high-level visits, and this is the fourth time the current Director General, if I'm not mistaken, has visited the Islamic Republic, usually they're designed by actually the regime in Tehran itself to try to avoid international censure, international rebuke at forthcoming Board of Governors meetings. We know there's one just around the corner in March. Sometimes they're used to stave off Western pressure, and in particular Western economic pressure. And they're designed to kind of get the international community a touch more access, a touch more clarity on things like monitoring, verification. But usually it's the regime playing to its strong suits, which is trying to explain why there is diminished monitoring and a growing nuclear program.
What does the IAEA need to know?
Well, there's much that the IAEA does need to know. Sometimes we may not know the right question to even ask, given that there are still outstanding questions over past weapons designs, that the fact that the regime has been since 2021 producing components for advanced centrifuges that we don't have access to and clarity on, and perhaps most importantly, about the regime's nuclear intentions, and if it really was going to be producing beyond 84% in the coming months.
It's so hard to read intentions, isn't it? One can read capacity, but when you try to read intentions, what's your best analysis?
Well, the regime is increasingly comfortable taking risks, we can say that. It's not just enriching at 20%, which counts as highly enriched. It's not just enriching at 60%. It even went up to 84% just recently. That's a stone's throw from 90%. But between this debate over intention and capacity, we have to remember that 20% counts as highly enriched. And therefore, if the regime can go to 20, and really for a decade has proven that it could, it knows how to go all the way to 90. So it could be trying to weaponize the politics of this debate to its own advantage. So I see the regime increasingly comfortable testing Western red lines and increasingly comfortable using nuclear escalation to try to garner some kind of economic relief or sanctions relief.
Is there a connection between Iran's security policy and its response to the domestic protests that we've seen since, mid-September? Or are they two completely separate things for the Iranian government?
Well, it's important to note that the driver or the engine of domestic repression and the engine of foreign aggression, and indeed the engine of the nuclear program and the engine of the regime's missile and drone programs is really the same entity inside Iran. It's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the host of affiliate fronts and security services that are tied to that organization. Sometimes when the regime looks weak abroad, it tries to project strength at home. For instance, in the month of September last year when protests began, the regime also launched a 73 close-range ballistic missile barrage at northern Iraq. So sometimes there is greater linkage than meets the eye between these two.
Behnam Taleblu, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.